So when you retired from boxing, did you ever think you would be spending this much time with me?
No. But the stars always seem to align perfectly for me. I'm destined for greatness, man. That's what can I tell you?
Yeah, because you get to work with me.
For the last 6 years, I've never seen you happier and most successful than when you met me. Mexicans have changed your life in your personal life and your professional life, and you know exactly what I'm
I'm
talking
going to
about.
leave my personal life out of it. But this is the first episode of Boxing with Mannix and Mora. We'll
Say it
be
again.
doing
Say it again.
Boxing with Mannix
And
Mora. The two of us together. Now, what does this all mean? Well, it means that Sergio and I, in addition to working together on air at DAZN, will be partnering on this podcast once a week, usually on Tuesdays. A little fluid there. We record together either in Los Angeles or somewhere on the road. We'll also do a lot of post-fight, post-event shows, reacting to the big stuff that needs reacting to. We're working out of a great studio here in LA, great camera setup here. We're going to have the show up on YouTube around the same time that it goes up on the podcast feed. I'm still going to do some long-form interviews with fighters, with promoters, with different newsmakers. That means my good buddy Keith Idek will still be part of the show from time to time, and I'll still do some pods with other reporters during the week. But this is the show, Sergio. Mannix and Mora, the writer and the fighter. How are you feeling about that?
that's my title, by the way. Can you let the people know the writer and the fighter was my title?
It is not your title. You do not have domain over that
Well,
title.
because I didn't get it domainized or whatever the word is, but
It's
I
called
didn't get it
domainized.
patented. But yeah, the writer, the fighter works out because look, you know nothing about boxing, never been punched in the nose. I clearly have been punched in the nose many
times.
and I can't write a sentence. So yeah, it works out perfectly, man.
Remember you first told me about your writing experiences? What was it?
I actually
PB?
can write. I just have bad punctuality.
It's punctuation.
But I mean, if I can, I mean, you see me tweet. I'm like the Hemingway of Twitter.
That's not a thing. That's not a thing. All right, let's jump right into these topics here. Big one this weekend over in Saudi Arabia. Dmitry Bivol going up against Artur Beterbiev. All four of the light heavyweight titles on the line. The biggest fight in this division since Andre Ward knocked out Sergey Kovalev about 7 years ago. Bivol's coming off a win over Malik Zanad in June. Beterbiev has been off since knocking out Callum Smith back in January. You picked Daniel Dubois, Sergio.
I did.
A few weeks ago against Anthony Joshua. And one of the reasons you did that was because you thought Dubois had momentum. So I'm going to start there. Who has momentum coming into this fight?
Dmitry Bivol has more momentum. I'm always going to favor a boxer over a devastating puncher, and for many reasons, because they have more avenues to be successful. Dmitry Bivol had that amazing year that a couple of years ago with Canelo, beating the number one pound for pound, the number one star in boxing, Canelo.
He was number one pound for pound at the time.
At that time, maybe number one, right?
Yeah, he was number one.
Arguably him and Crawford, but still the number one guy that the head honcho. And then he goes and beats an undefeated, bigger, longer, stronger, younger, schooled Zurdo Ramirez. That right there is amazing. Then he stayed busy in 2023 and 24, and now he's back to another huge fight. I think the momentum's on his side. The youth is on his side. Just the freshness, the fact that he doesn't have the injuries that Beterbiev have. Beterbiev is, 39 years old, coming off that knee surgery. That wear and tear with that style, that wrecking ball style coming forward. He's doing a lot of the punishment, but he does get hit himself. So doing that for as long as he's been doing it, he was an Olympian. You don't make the Olympics, unless you're the goods. So this guy's been on top of boxing, on top of his game for such a long time. All those sparring sessions, those training sessions with that style, it's a matter of time, man. And 39 years old is old, all right? But he's a power puncher, so they can grow a little older and still be successful because they got that eraser, that magic eraser that I wasn't born with.
You make a good point, though, on
many other fighters.
You make a good point on the skill set of Beterbiev, because I've been hearing this narrative from some people about how it's like the boxer versus the brawler. Well, Beterbiev is not a brawler. Beterbiev is a heavy-handed guy.
I never said brawler.
No, I know you didn't, but some people have kind of positioned this as Bivol being this master boxer and Beterbiev being this like kind of George Foreman-esque one-punch knockout guy. No, Beterbiev is highly skilled, to your point. Like, he is an elite boxer who doesn't really beat you with one shot. He's capable of it. We saw it in that Joe Smith fight, the fight he knocked him down first in. But he also wears you down with just, repetition punching. You go look at that Callum Smith fight. Like, Callum Smith got beaten down in that fight. Callum Smith is a good
I
fighter.
watched it this morning.
But he got beaten down in that fight. That's how Beterbiev wins. I don't know about the momentum being on the side of Bivol because his last couple of wins have not been very good, right? Like he fought Lyndon Arthur last year, didn't look great. His last win over Malik Zanad, who was a late replacement because Beterbiev bowed out of that fight, like that's a whatever type of win. So I don't know if he has momentum because Beterbiev is coming off that win over Callum Smith, which is a much better win than either of those two wins for Bivol. What worries me about Beterbiev is something you brought up. Like, he's coming off a knee injury. And this guy's been injured all over his body. His body's like a game of operation. He had knee surgery back in May. That was 6 months ago, right? Like, he has knee surgery in early May, and he's coming back to fight in the toughest fight of his career. Like, I think that's kind of crazy. Like, to expect him to be the Artur Beterbiev that we saw against Callum Smith coming off that type of knee injury, Sergio, that to me seems nuts. That's a real injury. And forget like fighting in mid-October. He was presumably back in training camp, late August, early September? Maybe he delayed it some. Maybe he's not been able to do some of the things that you normally do in a training camp to get ready for a fight. That's my biggest concern with Beterbiev.
That should be your concern. I mean, you deal with basketball. What's the number one injury in basketball?
Knee injuries.
Knee injuries. And once they go through that, what's it called? Microscopic knee surgery and all that?
Arthroscopic.
Whatever it is. I got the scopic right. Once they go through that, are they ever the same? And do they ever re-injure?
Well, no, I think yes, they are the same after that. Like technology, medical advancements have changed. Like
I can tell you in boxing, it's not. Remember Sergio Martinez?
Yeah.
Remember?
No, that's a good point. His knee destroyed his career.
Never was the same. And there's a lot of fighters, once they have surgery, it's never the same. I had surgery on my thumb. Believe it or not, just my thumb, my simple little thumb, which I tore the tendon.
It's just weird.
It's never the same. My penmanship, never the same. I can't even bend it like I used to. So yeah, once you have surgery, man, it's never the same. And if you have to go back to getting hit repetitively, like you said, the knee, the ribs, and the lower back never become the same once you get them injured in boxing. Everything else, you're gonna be fine. You can weather the storm of a hand injury or a nose being broken or any other fracture. But when you're dealing with the knee and the back, man, kiss your career goodbye pretty much.
All right, so how does this fight play out then? Bivol, Beterbiev, how do you see it playing out?
I think Bivol gets a late stoppage.
Really?
I think he gets a late stoppage. I was watching both these guys, and I was favoring Bivol for decision. Then I started watching how Bivol turns it on. Once he starts nailing you, he doesn't go for the kill, but he stays consistent with his attack.
Didn't turn it on against Malik Zanad or against Lyndon Arthur.
No, he did not, because he's smart, man. Smart fighters, they're fine going the distance and not getting hit. He's just too smart for his own good. But against Beterbiev is the type that's going to go out and shield. He's not going to give him an opportunity to cross that finish line. Beterbiev rather get knocked out in a great fight than lose a competitive decision. That's why I think he gets stopped, because he's going to run into something big by Bivol. I think Bivol's going to slice him up with that jab, and it's going to be heavy hands versus quick feet, and I'm favoring the quick feet of Bivol.
I favor the quick feet of Bivol as well. I think it goes the distance and Bivol wins by a decision, but I think it's a clean decision. Yeah. I don't think it's a decision where you're wondering at the end who did enough to win. The thing I like about Bivol is that he rises to the level of his competition. Like I mentioned his last two fights, Lyndon Arthur, Malik Zanad, these were not high-level fights. He did not look great in either one of these fights. But against Canelo, he looked great. Against Zurdo Ramirez, he looked great. Like when he's faced with a top-level opponent, granted, there haven't been many of them, but when he's faced with a top-level opponent, he tends to raise his game up. I think he's aware, though, of the danger that Beterbiev, presents. So I don't think he's going to take chances. I think he's going to move it in and out. I think he's going to be throwing combinations, trying to win rounds clean, but not trying to take chances against a puncher of this caliber. I think it's an 8-4 type of win for Dimitri Bivol.
Bivol, late stoppage. I'm telling you, Beterbiev is the type of guy he's relentless. He's not going to stop coming, and he'd rather get stopped instead of going to decision. I think Bivol's not going in there thinking he's going to stop him. I think he's just going to end up running into some shots and busting him up and stopping a monster truck like Beterbiev, and it's going to be a hell of a great fight because it's a 50-50 fight. We say it all the time, right? It's a pick 'em type fight. This really is. Ask all the pundits, ask all the former champions, ask anyone in boxing, and once you ask them what their prediction is, they're like, I don't know, this, that, coin flip, and every analogy for a 50-50 even fight, and it's a pick 'em.
I agree. All right, let's move on. Last month, Devin Haney filed a lawsuit against Ryan Garcia. Haney is seeking damages for battery, fraud, and breach of contract, all in connection to his fight against Garcia on April 20th. Garcia won that fight, only to have that result overturned to a no contest after he tested positive for Ostarine, a banned substance. Haney's lawsuit has been widely mocked, Sergio, to say the least, by people in the boxing industry. Tim Bradley said Haney needs to take his whooping like a man. Keyshawn Davis, he called Devin Haney soft. Oscar De La Hoya called the lawsuit frivolous. And Bernard Hopkins has said it is a bad look, just among the comments that have been made. Most people, Sergio, have been repeating the same message. If Devin has a problem with something that Ryan did, they can settle it in the ring next year. Where do you stand on Devin Haney or any boxer filing a lawsuit against an opponent?
You can add me to the list of those former champions you just mentioned, man. We take our ass whooping like a man. You lick your wounds.
Nobody takes an ass whooping like you, Sergio.
Bullshit. I lick my wounds and come back stronger. That's
Lick
what
your
you do,
blood,
man.
too.
That's what alley cats do, man. They lick their wounds, they come back, and they get in another fight. And you hear them at 3 a.m, and all that other stuff.
What was that?
You heard it. I think that's what boxers do. It's not because they can't do what Haney does. I mean, it's just it's a hard pill to swallow, man. It really is, especially when you were making the money that Haney was making. He was on top of the world. I mean, it takes a lot out of you. I mean, look at now he's having a hard time finding a promotional someone to promote him properly. He's
having a hard time finding someone to pay him. I don't know. If
pay
he's
him the
about to
money he
promote
got
him.
accustomed to. That's the thing about losing that zero. That's the thing about getting whooped on
Well,
the
to
big
be clear,
stage.
he didn't lose the zero. Officially, he is undefeated.
Yeah, but he got his ass whooped, and everyone saw it. And he got knocked down repeatedly on the big stage. It was an entertaining fight, but he fought the wrong game plan. He doesn't have the power to try to go power for power with. He fought the wrong style, man. I mean, it was fun to watch, but now that I look at it again and think back, Haney fought the wrong style, and he was intimidated with Ryan Garcia. Now we know why Ryan Garcia was so confident going into the fight, because they know each other so well, and it has nothing to do with style. I'm telling you right now, Mannix, it had everything to do with temperament. Garcia's is Huckleberry. Garcia's known him since they were 16, 17, 18 years old, and he knows what type of guy, what type of man Haney is. He doesn't have that gear, that extra testosterone gear, the extra balls, the bravado. Haney doesn't have that, man. And Garcia, for as much shit as he talks, for as crazy as he looks, and the dumb shit he does out of the ring, the dude has balls. And it's not like that macho balls. It's ignorant balls. Like, he doesn't know how dumb he is, Ryan Garcia. I know it sounds harsh, but he's such a talented, naturally gifted fighter that he doesn't have to work as hard than the guys that don't have that. So he didn't build that intelligence, that high fight IQ. He takes too many chances because he's so damn gifted. And that's why I say dumb or ignorant or whatever I want to say. But he's exciting to watch, man. And a lot of fighters that have been very successful and making a shitload ton of money, a lot of them are exciting like that, man. And their careers don't last that long, but damn, is it fun to watch while it's here.
All right, but where does the banned substance come in for you? How does it factor in? Because Devin Haney is not suing Ryan Garcia for getting his ass kicked. Devin Haney is suing Ryan Garcia for getting his ass kicked, for kicking his ass while on a banned substance.
All right, so we're going to set a precedent here, Mannix?
Why
We're going
not?
to set a precedent here that anytime someone gets their ass whooped by a guy that cheated, where would boxing be?
1,000%. Can I answer that?
Hold on.
Can I answer?
If Miguel Cotto sued Antonio Margarito
Should've.
for the loaded gloves, yes, it was bad. But what did Miguel Cotto do?
Well, Miguel Cotto wouldn't have won that. He wouldn't have won that because you don't know that
an
he had it.
all-time great, not only Puerto Rican, an all-time great fighter, fun to watch. What did he do? He took his whooping like a man, got back in the gym and kicked the shit out of that cheating Margarito and took his eye, man. Pretty much Margarito
his eye was pretty gone at that point anyway.
Well,
Yes.
I mean,
I think Shane Mosley took a piece of that.
He has a forever memory
eye, yeah.
of Miguel Cotto's ass whooping in that night. And you know what? That's how you get back at fighters that cheat.
But Sergio, you asked the question, like, should we set a precedent? My answer to that is hell yes.
But not in court.
Why?
Because that it's like getting your ass kicked and running home and telling your mom.
No, it's not getting your ass kicked and running home telling your mom. It's getting your ass kicked by somebody with a banned substance in their system in a combat sport. It's different. Sergio, the reason I'm okay with this and the reason I'm okay with setting a precedent is because the state commissions and the sanctioning bodies don't do shit. They don't seem to care. I want to give you a few examples of that. 2017, remember Luis Neri beat the crap out of his opponent, this Japanese fighter. He tests positive, no punishment. The WBC, they let him keep his 118-pound belt, said, you know what, that tainted meat stuff, that's what it was. 2019, a fight that you and I were going to be a part of. Jarrell Miller tests positive for multiple banned substances. He gets a 6-month nothing suspension for that. New York didn't do a good job there. Last year, Alicia Baumgartner tests positive. Nothing happens. The state of Michigan doesn't pick up the phone when promoters and reporters called them. The 4 sanctioning bodies allowed her to keep all 4 of her titles. So the reason I'm okay with a fighter taking an opponent to court if they test positive is because they're not really getting any recourse here. Like, nobody is protecting the fighter. Because, Sergio, you mark my friggin' words. We are headed towards the day where a fighter gets badly hurt or killed in the ring, and the opponent tests positive for a banned substance. Then you know what happens? Then boxing is done. Then the Congress is going to get involved. States are going to get involved. We're going to be talking about boxing being banned. Boxing needs to get ahead of this. And if suing your opponent for testing positive for a banned substance serves as some kind of impediment for them doing it in the future, I'm all for it.
Snitches get stitches.
That's not
That's
what,
all I gotta
that's
say.
not snitching.
Snitches get stitches, man. You're an Ivy League boy. You're from Boston.
I'm not.
You're a white collar.
Boston College is not in the Ivy League.
You don't know shit about being tough or being a tough guy,
This
or being
is
a street
such
fighter.
toxic machismo. It's so bullshit.
And what do you think makes us do the dumb shit we do, the crazy shit we do in the ring? It's that machismo that makes us climb into the ring. It's not intelligence. It's not education. It's not health first. No, it's the fact that we put our health on our line, and we put our brain and everything else at risk, because that's what we've been groomed. That's what we've been destined to do. We've been doing it since we were young kids. We know how to take an ass whooping more than the average person like yourself.
Yeah, but if you take an ass whooping from somebody that is clean, that's fine. That's what you sign up for. You don't sign up to fight somebody that's on a banned substance.
Okay, well, look, if that's where this generation is going, I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be
God.
part
Now
of
you
this
sound
whole.
like Hopkins.
I don't want to be part of it. Yeah, you know why? That's an all-time great tough fighter. That's an all-time great, a man that made his bones in prison. That's where you learn to box. That's what you know about boxing. Not everyone has that golden road to success. Not everyone has, the privilege that you had and many other people have.
Why
right?
am I the only one talking about
Because
protecting
you're
the
standing
fighter? But I'm
three feet in
talking
front of
about
me.
protecting the fighter here, because I don't even care about the result of the lawsuit, Sergio. My thing is, if a lawsuit and damages recouped as a result of that lawsuit will make a fighter think even for an extra second about taking a banned substance, I think it's worth it.
If you think fighters are stagnant in their careers and they don't fight often enough, what do you think extending this in the court is going to do? I mean,
it's not going to make a difference. It's not criminal. This is civil. It's not going to stop anything from happening at any point in time. It's not going to slow anybody down. We're still going to get the rematch between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney.
Once you get things into the legal entanglements and going to court and going back and forth and the lawyers involved, it just turns into it turns into chasing money and not chasing greatness, man. If you're a young boxer, especially if you're in your mid-20s and you have a whole life, a whole career ahead of you, you don't want to get tangled up in the webs of legality, man. That's some nonsense.
Okay, but let's play the hypothetical here. Let's say that Daniel Jacobs, after your fight with him, tested positive, and Daniel Jacobs did not test positive. Clean guy. Say Daniel Jacobs tested positive for like nandrolone or whatever it is. That's an anabolic steroid. You wouldn't think about suing him?
I would have sued his ass in a second.
This is what I'm talking about.
But I was 36 years old and at the end of my career, man. Big difference. Big difference. And he was getting paid 4 or 5 times more than I was in that fight. I was a B-side. He was a champion. Totally different, all right?
But the point remains the same. that you would have sued him. How did we go? You just did a 180 in real time right here on this. I look, all I care about, Sergio, is stopping guys from doing this, and stopping fighters from doing this.
And all I care about is saving my own hide. All right. So yes, if I would have been in that situation, yes, because I was at the end of my career. I don't advocate this for young fighters because it just you're gonna get too mixed up in things that don't matter. Fighting and being the machismo, the tough guy, the blood, the guts, that's what you need to concentrate on. Being that warrior and not the businessman with a suit.
If Devin Haney knew ahead of time that Ryan Garcia was going to test positive for Osterine, he wouldn't have gone through with the fight. So the fact that he went through with it, shouldn't there be some repercussions for that? Now, look, I want to say this off the top, or not the top, but New York did a good job with this. Like a 1-year ban and a significant fine, which, by the way, should go to Devin Haney. Like that money should go into Devin Haney's pockets. But a 1-year ban is for a first offense is exactly, I think, the appropriate punishment. So New York, I'm good with them. I just think that we need to do more, be more proactive, and serve up some more roadblocks, some more impediments for guys to even think about taking a banned substance, because that is going to get somebody killed. You mark my words, it's going to get somebody killed someday, Sergio. I am 100% sure of that.
We're in the fight game. This is a hurt business, man.
All right, let's move on. We talked about Danny Dubois, his win over Anthony Joshua. You were one of the only people out there that picked Danny Dubois. Again, it certainly sounds like we are headed for a rematch between Dubois and AJ. Turki Al-Sheikh wants the rematch for next year. Frank Warren, Danny Dubois, they want the rematch. Eddie Hearn, AJ, they say they're into the rematch. They want a little more time to recover from the knockout loss, but they're willing to do it as AJ's next fight. That was, Sergio, except for about 10 seconds, as one-sided a beating as you can possibly get. Is it wise for Anthony Joshua to go straight into a rematch with Dubois?
No, it's not wise, but I would think that that's the only thing Anthony Joshua has in front of him right now. I mean, Anthony Joshua's already been here before. He's gotten knocked out, and then he went back and faced Andy Ruiz to get his title back. That's the only way back into the limelight, the mass appeal, the big fights, is to go and knock out the guy that knocked you out. That's just boxing right there. It's in any sport. You know, you got to get back what's yours. And at this point of his career, Anthony Joshua just can't just sweep it under the rug and say, all right, you got me, son. I'm going to go fight someone else now. I'm going to go fight Tyson Fury. No, you don't do that. You do not do that. And the thing about Joshua is he went for the kill with Dubois. He saw that he rocked Dubois a little bit, and he went recklessly after him. You don't do that. It just goes to show you that Anthony Joshua, it was a power puncher. Even when he won an Olympic gold medal, it was his size. It was his power that did it. It wasn't his technique. It wasn't his skill. And it sure as hell wasn't his defense. So at this point of his career, in his mid-30s now, or both of them around their mid-30s.
No, they're not. AJ's 34. Dubois 27. Like there's a difference.
I'm talking
in
about
age.
Joshua.
Right. AJ's 34.
Okay, so they're in the 30s.
Right. He is.
Yeah. You don't change who you are at this point. You're a power puncher. You live by the punch. You die by the punch. And he just got knocked the hell out face first by it. So look, he has an excellent mind and an excellent trainer in his corner in Bed Davison. Huge fan of his. I think they get the immediate rematch as fast as possible, and they go back in there. And I think if he goes in there with a game plan and sticks to it and forgets about the power, he can beat a Dubois. Dubois is a big stationary target. He's like a Frankenstein type fighter, and we know that he's not quit, but he's looked for a way out in fights.
Yeah, but hasn't that ship sailed? Like
it has, but you can remind him of it. You can remind him of it.
He quit against Alexander Usyk. I think that's fair to say. But then he went out and rallied against Jarrell Miller, went up against Filip Hergovic and beat down AJ. I feel like it's a different fighter now.
This is back with what we touched on, momentum, and you learn off that. You learn how to become brave. Believe it or not, Dubois is one of these guys that's still learning on the job, man. He still hasn't even won a world championship. You still can't even call him the heavyweight champion of the world, but he just knocked out a 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. Right there, that's a big feather on your cap. So he's building his confidence, and he's still building his offense and his aura, and his character. He's still building his character. This is Dubois, 26 years old?
27.
27 years old, man. He's a young, moldable heavyweight champion. So sky's the limits for him, but you just got to maneuver him in the right ways. And right now he's at a hell of a 2024.
Well, the question is about AJ, though. And I agree with you that AJ should probably go right into the rematch. I don't think there is enough time, or it's even realistic, to expect him to go through a rebuild like he did after the 2 losses to Usyk. He's just too old. And the opportunities that are potentially there, specifically against Tyson Fury, you don't have time to go through a 1.5-year rebuild. That being said, there's nothing I saw in that fight that makes me believe that a rematch will be any different. Like, Dubois, from the moment he started to make that ring walk, looked incredibly confident. Like, he looked like a different guy than the one we saw against Joyce, the one we saw against Usyk. That guy is coming into his own in the heavyweight division. He has a power jab that he can use. He has a devastating right hand. And more importantly for that fight, I don't think AJ has a chin anymore. Like, I don't think he trusts his chin at all. Like, the guy, there was a lot of talk in the build-up to that fight about how this version of Anthony Joshua is a more complete fighter than the one that beat Vladimir Klitschko. That may be true, but you just talked about Coyones there. Like, guys.
What'd you say? Coyote?
Yeah, Coyones.
Cojones, cabrón.
I'm trying,
Cojones.
all right,
testicles, balls, guts, testosterone.
Can we? All right.
Cojones.
Try to keep it relatively PG-13.
There you go.
That version of AJ had some stones to him. Like, that version of AJ got off the mat and went straight after Vladimir Klitschko and knocked him out. I don't think this version of him can do that. I think this version of him is a guy that operates behind the jab, tries to be a little more disciplined. And look, when he did decide to throw caution to the wind in that 5th round, landed one clean right hand and then got countered straight to hell with that right hand from Danny Dubois. I don't know why you'd believe that anything would be different. Danny Dubois is still going to land right hands in the rematch. He's still going to have that jab that's going to be a big weapon for him. I don't see a way for AJ to improve enough. And look, Dubois, in the last 2 fights, has shown he can take right hands. Like, Hrgovic landed some good right hands against him. AJ landed at least one clean right hand against him. Like, Dubois is the real deal at heavyweight. So I'm with you. I say go right into it, roll the dice. Maybe one big right hand lands. You could change the course of the fight and you can get back on track for a Tyson Fury matchup. But there's nothing I saw that makes me believe that fight will go any different.
Yeah. If Anthony Joshua was less intelligent, then I think he could come back and erase what happened. I mean, short-term memory serves athletes well. They forget about the last game, the last fight, and then just
he's a thinking man's fighter.
But he's that's exactly what I was getting to. He's too smart for his own good. And a lot of thinking fighters, they start thinking too much. Man, boxing's a reactive sport. It's something that's repetitively ingrained in you for years and years and years, rounds and rounds and rounds. You hear that?
Did you see him, Sergio, in the corner between rounds? No, but this is the thinking part stuff. Did you see him in the corner between rounds? Like, after he's getting beat up, he's saying like. He ain't shit, talking about Dubois.
Yeah, he's trying to convince himself.
I know, yeah.
It's that fake tough guy. It's fake bravado, Mannix. It's that fake bravado that you could find anywhere, and real bravado is quiet, man. Real bravado, you see it in their eyes or in their sneer or in the way that their body language is. It's not in talking, it's not in trying to convince yourself. It's not believable, man. It's not believable when Joshua tries to be a tough guy. When he does it in press conferences, I don't believe him. He's too damn handsome and big and smart. Guys like that, you don't believe him, man. You believe guys like me. Fucking scars on the face, my fucking nose looks like mashed potato, but I'll whoop your ass, Pretty boys like that, nah, man. It doesn't work that way. So Joshua should stick to what he is, and he's a cerebral fighter. He's a power-punching, careful fighter that's already gotten shaken up, past tense. And now you got to evolve into something that you haven't been, and that's a boxer. He's not the power puncher, destructive guy that throws caution to the wind. Now he's that careful, trying to make as much money as I possibly can and not get knocked out and cross the finish line a rich man. That's where Joshua's at now.
So Tyson Fury was on TV last weekend, and he said it would be a travesty if the fight between him and AJ didn't happen. Now, Fury's got business of his own coming up December 21st in that rematch against Usyk. But would you agree, Sergio? Would it be a travesty if we never see AJ against Fury?
It's been a travesty. It's been a fucking Greek travesty since Fury was supposed to fight Joshua, and then Deontay Wilder belt blocked. Remember that word I used, belt block? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what he did, man. He got in the way of Undisputed, and guess what? We didn't get to see Undisputed between them guys. We got to see Undisputed with the real heavyweight king, and that's Alexander Usyk. He's the top dog now. He's the one that demands all the attention, all the greatness that we wanted out of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. We got it from this Ukrainian great. But since you brought up Fury and Joshua, yes, I still want to see it.
Oh no.
Yes, I still want to see it, but it lost its pizzazz.
Luster, yeah.
It lost is that little garnish that you put on top of a beautiful meal.
What are you doing with your hands right there?
Well,
is that
you know
is that your garnish
movement? When you order like one of those fancy drinks, they always put something nice. You don't need it.
The cherry on top.
No, that's a sundae. But that's what it lost.
Okay.
That's what that fight lost.
It lost way more than that. To me, if they make it now, it's just a lame cash grab. Now, look, if AJ turns
and what's wrong with that?
Because I don't want.
And what's wrong with the cash grab?
Because it's all of a sudden they're in like the loser bracket of the heavyweight division. Because Dubois and Usyk.
How many fucking losers could fill out 90,000 seat arenas?
You think it would still do that? Like
yes. Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua could still do that.
Play this out. Hold on. Play this out for me. Like if Fury gets beat by Usyk in the rematch, and I think Usyk's a big favorite in that fight, and Dubois gets knocked out again in their fight, like is there really a market for Fury coming off back-to-back loss to Usyk and AJ coming off back-to-back loss to Dubois? Is there really a market for that fight? Would 90,000 people really come up and support that?
89,000.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, for a person that loves big events, you're rooting for Fury to beat Usyk to become the unified champion. If you love a big event, you're rooting for AJ to bounce back and beat Dubois in a rematch. Because then you can make that fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship. Two of the most popular fighters in boxing, two of the biggest draws in British boxing history. You could put that fight together at Wembley Stadium. It would be awesome. But if they lose, or even if one of them loses, I don't care anymore. Like, I don't want to see it anymore. Like, Manny Pacquiao had to bounce back from his losses before we started really talking about a Mayweather fight. I need to see AJ and Fury bounce back from their losses if I want to see that fight happen. All right, in December, we are going to get a Gervonta Davis event. Speaking of events, Gervonta's going to take on Lamont Roach, defend his version of the 135-pound title. Now, Gervonta has been criticized pretty loudly over the last 24, 48 hours since this fight has been announced. Lamont Roach is a 130-pound champion. He is not a big name, but that's what it's going to be. Gervonta against Lamont Roach. How do you feel about that fight?
I'm frustrated. I'm disappointed. I'm to the point where it's getting a little bit aggravating and borderline angry at Team Tank. We've heard this before. We've heard Tank Davis fight smaller champions. I mean, Leo Santa Cruz, Yurokis Gamboa, and now another 130-pound champion.
Hector Luis Garcia, just about a year ago.
Hector Luis Garcia is another one. So what are you doing, Team Tank, man? What's Mayweather doing? I'll tell you what they're doing. They're laughing all the way to the bank.
Out of that business.
They're laughing all the way to the bank. All right, that's what they're doing. They're now, mind you, he's a star. He's popular and he's fun to watch. I'm a fan of Tank Davis. But come on, man. I mean, enough is enough. This is going to be another Frank Martin type fight. Exactly a Frank Martin type fight where Roach is that damn good to make it competitive. And we know Tank gives up rounds. He's just assessing things. He's biding his time to land that big monster combination and you're out. It's going to be similar, man. I just think Roach maybe goes past the 6th round. I think he goes into the second half of the fight. But I think he still gets knocked out. And then what did Tank prove in the 135-140 division? That he can knock out smaller fighters coming up. And he's not facing the monsters that are in his category. I mean, Teofimo Lopez, for as much as you people love to hate that guy bites off more than he can chew and always goes looking for the biggest and most dangerous fights. He fought Loma, became undisputed, moved up and fought undisputed for Josh Taylor. He fights anyone, anytime. Now, mind you, he's annoying to listen to out of the ring, but inside the ring, the dude has balls, and I got nothing but respect for him. Same thing goes for Devin Haney. He doesn't have the balls that Teofimo has, but he actually did great things with Loma at 135, and he tried to be great and moved up and fought Ryan Garcia at 144. whatever that weight was, catch weight, and then
he went to Australia twice to fight Kambosos. He fought
go.
Regis Prograis, first fight at 140.
There you go.
Good resume on that. I'm willing to. I've criticized Tank a lot in the past for his choice of opponents. He did try to make the Lomachenko fight. I want to give him credit for that. Lomachenko was the one that said, look, I don't want to fight this year. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to fight. I'm going to back away from that unification fight. I do think they could have done more at the time to make a Shakur Stevenson fight. I think a Shakur fight was out there, and they potentially could have made it if they gave up some cash.
Remember you told me about Shakur Stevenson maybe like a year and a half ago. I go, ain't no one going to fight him. No big name's going to look his way. I'm going to tell you again, because this
William
time next
Zepeda
year,
is.
you're not. No, I said big names. Zepeda's not a champion. He deserves a championship, but he's not a champion. I'm telling you right now, no one's going to look in the way of Shakur Stevenson. He's that damn good, that damn dangerous, and no one's going to want to fight a fast, defensive southpaw. All right? So this time next year, I'll remind you, hey, where's Stevenson at? What fighter has he fought? It ain't going to happen. That guy's that damn, he's a sniper, man. No one's going to fight him.
Well, look,
Not
if
the
he
big names.
comes back and beats William Zepeda, I think that's a can't-miss fight for him, like a great opportunity for him to look really good in the ring. And I think the result of that fight, if he wins, and I think that's no foregone conclusion, if he wins, I think there'll be more people interested in him then, because that will be an exciting fight.
If he wins by knockout.
I think that's the only way you can beat Zepeda.
If he peppers him up and runs and punches.
He doesn't
and
throw
hit,
enough punches to beat Zepeda.
then
like
it's
that.
going to be, we're back to square one with Stevenson. A talented guy that doesn't take chances, and people don't want to watch him, or especially pay pay-per-view to watch him. So if he knocks out Zepeda, then yeah, we got something.
So to go back to Gervonta and Lamont Roach, I do give him credit for trying to make the Lomachenko fight. That would have been a great fight. He should have done more to make the Shakur Stevenson fight when Shakur was healthy. I don't know what happened with Rayo Valenzuela. Like, if they had punted that fight down the road like a month, could they have made that fight happen if Valenzuela wasn't ready for December 14th? That would have been a good fight for a title at 140 pounds. You mentioned Teofimo. He's just out there doing nothing right now. There should have been an effort made to make that fight, because this is a fight. Look, I don't want to disrespect Lamont Roach. Good fighter. Only has that loss to Jamel Herring on his resume, but he's not going to win. Like, he's not going to win. This fight would have been cooler if it was in D.C. I might have been cool with that. Like, Lamont Roach is from D.C. Tank Davis from Baltimore. Would have done great business in the Wizards building there. So I would have been okay with that, but it's in Houston, Texas. It just feels like another Hector Luis Garcia all over again, right? Where you're going to have Lamont Roach have some success, to your point, in the early rounds, but eventually Tank catches up to you. Like, his power is real, and I don't think that Lamont can take that type of power. So I think we're just looking at another, and it's going to be on pay-per-view, most likely. Like, that's, you really want to pay $80 for that?
No, I just said that.
Yeah, I don't want to see that for $80.
And that's where we go back to what I said. It's frustrating, and as a fight fan, as someone that wants to see the best fight the best, especially if you're our age, Mannix, where we saw the best fight the best in the late 80s and early 90s. I mean, that is greatness. That is the boxing heyday. And now you got all this talent that's avoiding each other. And then when they finally do fight, they have losses, or they have hiccups, or they got knocked out. And then it doesn't have the same umph that you did when, Sugar Ray Leonard fought Thomas Hearns, or when Duran fought Sugar Ray Leonard, or when Marvin none of that, man. Those Terry Norris, when he's fighting all these other guys, these greats in junior middleweight, Simon Browns and everyone else. That's the heyday of boxing, man. De La Hoya, Trinidad, Whitaker was in the mix. That's the heyday. Now we got a bunch of guys running away from each other, looking for the biggest payday, and then going on social media talking shit, saying, "Oh, that guy's avoiding me." It's nonsense, man. And can you imagine now if you throw in the legal fights that you want to throw in? It's just gonna make it worse. Nope. I'm not for it.
Look, Tank is going to turn 30 in November, and his biggest fight to date, his best win, is against a shrunk down Ryan Garcia. That's not a great resume. And look, Tank can look at all of us and say, here are all my nice cars. Here's my flush bank account. You guys can all go to hell. And he'd be right to do that to a degree. But to get respect and to be considered a great, you've got to fire the greats. So 2025, it's got to be an attempt to fight Lomachenko. It's got to be a unification fight against Shakur Stevenson. I think like a guy like Valenzuela should be far down the list of something like that. Like that would have been a good fight for right now, given the alternatives. But I want to see him in with top guys at 135, top guys at 140. If Zepeda defeats Shakur Stevenson, I want to see him fight Zepeda. I think that's a great fight. I think he knocks out Zepeda because I think Zepeda takes too many chances against a counterpuncher like that. But those types of fights, to me, it's 2025 or bust for Tank Davis to prove that he is on that elite level. Because I think both of you and I agree he is really talented. Like against all these guys I named, I'd probably make him a favorite against all of them. So I just want to see him in those fights. I think the rest of boxing wants to see him in those fights.
Me too, but I don't think it's going to happen.
All right, last thing I want to talk to you about. Social media has been ablaze over the last couple of days with Bud Crawford and Teofimo Lopez going back and forth. These two guys were at an event a couple of weeks ago where they were face-to-face. Bud Crawford wanted to fight and still wants to fight Teofimo in the streets. Teofimo wants Bud to put the gloves on and fight him in the ring. Teofimo on social media said he would fight Bud for free. Said if they want to do a real fight, he will fight Bud Crawford for free. Just for context here, Teofimo is a 140-pound title holder, whereas Bud just moved up to 154 and beat Israel Madrimov. So there's certainly some tension between the two, but would you like to see a fight between Bud and Teofimo?
Absolutely. And I would look, we called the fight with Madrimov and Crawford. And Madrimov's a big guy, right? He was a 154-pounder. If you size up Teofimo Lopez and Madrimov, I would say they're either equal in size.
No, they're not.
I'm telling you right now, Teofimo Lopez, the first time I met him, I put my hand on his shoulder. He looked like a fullback. He has wide shoulders, and he rehydrates in weight. So it's not like he's fighting a 135 or a 140 pounder. He's fighting a 160 pounder.
Madrimov is a career-long 154.
I'm saying it's not a big size difference if you see them in person. Man, I size up fighters for a living, all right? Both these guys are the same damn size.
I just saw Teofimo last weekend in New York at the Michaela Mayer-Sandy Ryan fight. We just called the fight with Madrimov. They are a different size.
Teofimo Lopez has huge shoulders, man, and they're wide. And this dude's really strong for his weight. You see him doing those pull-ups all the way to his hips. Like he's has
not stronger than Madrimov, though. He's not.
Man, I don't know what you're watching. I mean, Madrimov is a talented, strong, fleet-footed, athletic fighter, but Teofimo has that brute strength, and he has fluid feet, and he has unorthodox way of movement, and he can punch from every angle. He's an instinct fighter. He's a reactive fighter. I would go as far as to say that Teofimo Lopez would be an equal type of fight to Crawford than what we've seen with Madrimov. Equal.
Oh, you're crazy.
I'm telling you right now. I'm calling it.
I don't want to disrespect Teo because Teo went
He
in
has
with
the footwork.
Lomachenko.
He has the size. He has the power.
You think he has the footwork? The same footwork as Madrimov?
Teofimo Lopez?
Why has Teofimo had so many problems with guys that move around the ring? Like
because
Sandro Martin, huge problems with Sandro Martin.
Because he overestimated him, and he doesn't know how to cut off the ring like Madrimov. Madrimov, I'll give him that.
Isn't that footwork?
No, that's knowing how to cut off the ring.
Isn't that footwork?
No, footwork is getting in and out, getting yourself positioned, getting footwork. Angles. It's ring generalship. You know, being able to make that ring smaller and smaller. That's a talent. But Teofimo's talent, he can do backflips for God's sake. You're telling me that doesn't take footwork?
Great, he can be in the circus. That's amazing. Teofimo is smaller than Bud. Teofimo is smaller than Madrimov.
Nuts. He's not smaller than Bud. Bud is lean. He has narrow shoulders. He's lean and muscular. If you see him in person, he's taller and leaner.
I've seen him in person a lot. He's bigger than Teofimo.
And Teofimo's wider and more muscular and more dense.
Look, Teofimo has looked great against the likes of Josh Taylor, who kind of pressed the action on him.
Undisputed champion.
Pressed the action on him. Lomachenko pressed the action on him. Look,
great.
He's had some great wins, but I don't look at Teofimo right now as being some master boxer. Like, against Kambosos, he struggled with Kambosos' movement. Against Sandro Martin, he really struggled with that movement. That was a big problem for him in that fight. He goes up against Bud, go up 2 weight classes to go fight Bud, who is now a natural 154. He is a junior middleweight. He goes up against Bud. That's going to end badly for him, Sergio. That's going to end really bad. Now, I don't mind the fight because I love the bad blood. There's history there. They both are with Top Rank for a long time. It's an interesting fight. I don't give Teo any chance to win. Like, none.
I do.
Bud Crawford is #1 pound for pound for a reason. That guy is the goods. And I think he is going to have Teofimo in a metaphorical pretzel in that fight until he lands big shots to get knocked out.
Put that in your article, your Sports Illustrated article.
What's
pretty good.
What would Teo's pathway to victory be? He's not going to knock Bud Crawford out. That's pretty obvious.
He can hurt Crawford. I think he could definitely do it. I mean, Teofimo, we're never giving him a chance. Like, this guy's always going to be an underdog, but this guy's like wily. He's dumb as a fox, and he lives for moments like these.
Not that I don't think Teofimo's dumb as a fox, but you seem to think with Ryan Garcia and with Teofimo, like, ignorance is bliss with those guys.
Fucking A, it is. In boxing, it is, because they don't know how dumb they are. They don't know how ignorant they are. They don't know how they take chances. They don't think too much. They just react. And they got the speed, the power, the talent, the size, and they have that natural instinct to just, fuck it, I'm gonna cross the line. I don't care. I'm gonna do it. And they do it because when they're motivated, because they have too much pride. They're prideful fighters, and being too prideful is dumb. It really is. It's a sin to be that. So they don't care, because they rather have that and chase a win no matter what, even if it costs them physically.
Look, if Bud can't
if Bud
can't get the Canelo fight, sign me up for Bud against Teofimo. And if I'm Bud, I'm running towards that fight. Like, that's a marketable fight. I'd win. I'd get a bag. Maybe not a huge bag, but maybe you can get, I saw Teofimo tagging Turki Al-Sheikh in one of his tweets. Maybe you can get the Saudis interested in putting up some money for that fight. It's definitely marketable. I don't think it's very good, though. I think Bud's on a different level than Teofimo, and Bud being that much bigger, I think is going to make a big difference. I just do.
Did you just say bag?
Bag.
That vernacular is not in you, Chris Mannix.
Bag.
Please don't ever use that word again.
Like the bag that you dropped when you wouldn't fight.
You need to say currency, my friend.
No, I don't.
Bag. Feria.
First episode. You happy?
I am, man. Because you finally shelled out some feria, some money, that bag. You brought out that big bag that you have, and you finally rented a nice space with a nice producer that we have here. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future.
I'm less excited, but good stuff.
Yes, sir.